Game night here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. Of course, it's Super Bowl week and another great opportunity to talk about football with my guest right now. He is the co-host of Freddie and Fitzsimmons. You heard Freddie Coleman on the other night. Now we got Ian Fitzsimmons on the show tonight here on 97.3 ESPN, joining us on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Welcome back to the show, Ian. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you jumping on, and I got to start with the Super Bowl stuff because you're someone I really wanted to ask this about because your brother coached in the NFL, and I know that the amount of work that coaches go into, not just for any game, but especially the Super Bowl, has to be above and beyond. Give the audience an idea of some of the things that your brother has told you about what goes into the preparation for a National Football League team game week.
You know, I really didn't have a true appreciation for what it takes to win on a Sunday in the NFL until he got into the league with the Colts first, and then he had about a 5-year run with the Detroit Lions, making the playoffs twice in 4 years. Which by the way, how does that sound right now for Detroit fans? You fired Jim Caldwell, brilliant move. Where his worst year was 7-9 and made the playoffs half the time there in Detroit under Jim Caldwell. But man, when I made a comment one time and it was, you know, pick a team who's awful, right? And the Lions lost to them, and this is when they were 11-5 and went and played the Cowboys in the playoff game down in Arlington. And he goes, "You have no concept as to what it takes to win a game in the NFL. None, zero." And it really got me to thinking. So I've called a couple of other guys that you know I know around the league who have coached in the league for a long time, from college to pros. They said, man, the difference in the pros is you've got a wife, you got 3 kids, right? You got the bad back, you got 2 dogs, you know, and especially during the holiday season. I mean, now you got the in-laws coming over, and you forgot to get the whipping cream for the pie or whatever, and you're running back. I mean, it's chaos. You have a normal life, but you're also trying to prepare to win a game on a Sunday. It ain't easy to do. And he said when you lose to a, quote, bad team in the league, right, that team, those guys are on scholarship also. I mean, they're getting paid a lot of money to be in the NFL. That's something Urban Meyer talked about. Urban's like, man, I don't buy into a team. Let's use the New York Jets for example, right? Urban's whole philosophy right now going to Jacksonville is if you're on an NFL roster, you've got talent. It's our job to coach you up. Now, could the other team have better talent? Absolutely. It's just like if when Ohio State plays, I don't know, pick a squad, Rutgers, right? But those guys, there's talent on every single team. And to win a game in the NFL is not easy. To win a playoff game, and this is something that this is what makes what Tom Brady has done so remarkable, incredible, almost unthinkable. This man has gone now 10 Super Bowls. 10. I don't know if people really have any idea how hard it is to get to 1 and then win 1. And this dude's going on number 7 if he takes home a Lombardi on Sunday. That's, as Marcus Spears told us the other day, he said, I played 9 years in the NFL. This dude's 2 Super Bowls away from as many seasons that I played in. I mean, that's unheard of, man. So to win a playoff game, it's hard. To get to a Super Bowl, it's incredibly difficult. To win 1 is, man, it's almost unthinkable. And I'm telling you that from a guy who's had blood in the game, and it ain't easy, man. So anybody who says, well, Aaron Rodgers only has 1 or Brett Favre only has 1, ask Tony Romo how 1 would feel, or Dan Marino only how 1 would feel, or Takeo Spikes, who played, 15 years in the NFL, was a 6-7-time Pro Bowler, and never even got to the playoffs. It ain't easy.
And that's part of the reason why.
Long answer. I apologize.
No, it was a great answer, though.
You asked a hot question, and you got a long answer. I apologize.
No, it was still a good answer. And because of that coaching, it's part of the reason why, Ian, I'm looking at this Chiefs and Bucks game, and I keep coming back to one thing. That record of Andy Reid coming off the bye is it's unheard of. It's ridiculous how good this guy is when he's given that extra week of preparation.
Yeah, no, I understand, but guess what? That dude, we're in 12. He's pretty good off a bye too, and Tom Brady. Bruce Arians, I think, is underrated as a head coach. Now, full disclaimer, I've known BA since the late 90s when he was an offensive coordinator at Alabama. That's when we first met when I was covering Crimson Tide back then. I completely understand what you're saying about Andy Reid. And he and Eric Bieniemy are going to have 3 to 4 of their magical gadget plays like Ferrari right. You know, that play they ran when everybody went left, Mahomes rolls back out to the right, and there's Travis Kelce ordering a milkshake in the back of the end zone because he's so wide open. But they're going to have 3 or 4 of those because that Fisher injury, Eric Fisher going down with Achilles at left tackle. Now you're moving Mike Remmers from right tackle, who's a backup right tackle, to your starting left tackle. Now you got a backup at the right, you got a backup at the left. Against that front seven for Tampa, we can talk about the Tom Brady's and the Andy Reids and the Bruce Arians and the Patrick Mahomeses and the Tyreek Hills and all the fancy names and the big names out there. This game is going to be won by the big boys with their hands in the dirt. There is no doubt in my mind. Vita Vea coming back at defensive tackle for Tampa was a massive, massive lift. And I'm beyond impressed with how in shape he is. And I'm talking football conditioning, especially for a man of his size. And Ndamukong Suh, no one's talking about. And that dude is caving the pocket and hog tying 2 or 3 guys to allow Shaq Barrett, JPP, Devin White, Levante David to run free. You know, whoever said we'd be talking about Ndamukong Suh as an underrated and underappreciated player in the Super Bowl. But that's what he is right now. That front seven for Tampa against that makeshift offensive line for Kansas City is where this game is going to be decided.
Ian Fitzsimmons, co-host of Freddie and Fitzsimmons, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN, joining us here on the Boardwalk Hunter Hotline, here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Ian, another thing I want to ask you about is you've been around the college game for a long time, and there's a guy in Philadelphia right now who came from Florida, Brian Johnson. And can you tell the audience a little bit about this guy? Because I think a lot of people don't understand, people who only follow the pro game, people don't understand who this guy is. This is one of the hottest coaching commodities in college football, and the Eagles got him to be their quarterback coach.
And there's a lot of layers to that story. One, to give you background on Brian Johnson, quarterback at Utah, led the Utes to an undefeated season back in 2008, 2009, and beat the ever-loving hell out of Alabama and Nick Saban in the Sugar Bowl. That game was over before kickoff. He played an unbelievable game. Is a true student of the game. Having coached under Kyle Whittingham at Utah, is I think one of the best coaches in college football. Obviously, we then went under Urban Meyer, then Dan Mullen. Those are some pretty good football minds, man, where he studied under. And for Dan Mullen to make him his offensive coordinator at Florida just goes to show you what Mullen thinks about Brian Johnson. He is a remarkable mind, a student of the game, and a leader of men. I mean, guys just gravitate to him. For him to leave as a coordinator in the SEC on a team that's got some serious talent to make a run next year, to go be the quarterback coach in Philadelphia, tells me that name, image, likeness, and the transfer rules, because he's not the only one that's left a coordinator's position to go be a position coach in the league, you know, which a lot of people will deem as a step back. But I think I think guys like Brian Johnson, I haven't talked to Brian about this, but I think that the name, image, likeness, and the new transfer rules are going to cause some chaos in college football. And you're seeing a lot of coaches that are saying, you know what, I'm a coordinator at this level, but if being a position coach with close to similar pay in the league, that's where my future is right now. And for anybody thinking, well, how's he going to develop Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts? Trust me, go ask Kyle Trask what this guy has done for him. Kyle Trask went from not starting a game since he was in junior high to being a Heisman Trophy finalist. And a lot of that, it was Dan Mullen, but a lot of it also was Brian Johnson. Back and coach.
Ian Fitzsimmons here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Listen to him tonight, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN Coast of Freddie and Fitzsimmons. As all guests, he appeared on the Boardwalk on the Hotline. Ian, a lot of great stuff. We had a little time to get it all in. I appreciate you jumping on and making the time.
Yeah, man, my pleasure. And hey, man, when you walk into the old casino, baby, just put a 25 spot on black for me. You know how the rest of the night's going to go.
I'll keep you posted, and I'll blame you if I lose. How about that?
There you go. Hey, everybody else does. Have a great one, man. Thanks for having me.